Sabbath. They fired huge number of thousands of rockets so far, and they went into 30 Jewish communities and slaughtered, murdered, raped, killed, beheaded, everything you know about ISIS. That's
इसराइल पर हमास के हमले के बाद इसराइल ने हमास पर बड़ी जवाबी कार्रवाई की है। इसराइल ने अपना पोजीशन भी क्लियर किया है कि जब तक वो इस हमले का पूरा बदला नहीं निकाल लेते वो पीछे नहीं हटने वाले हैं। क्या होगा इस जंग का इंतजाम कहाँ जाकर के ये रुकेगा और क्या कोई निगोशिएशंस इसमें हो सकते हैं, इन सभी बड़ी बातों पर बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ इस वक्त भारत में इसराइल के एम्बेसडर नियर ओज खुद एक्सक्लूसिवली बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर। मेनी थैंक यू फॉर टेकिंग टाइम आउट। वी अंडरस्टैंड एम्बेसडर दैट दीज आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट टाइम्स। एम्बेसडर, आई वुड like to begin with expressing my condolences for all the losses that Israel had to suffer because of this attack. Prime Minister Modi has already extended his support to the Israel for this cause. Sir, as I enter into this interview, I just noted a piece of news which says that there has been a ceasefire in southern Gaza that has been announced for the humanitarian aid to be able to reach the people. You think there could be more such announcements in days to come?
Well, I'm not sure. We are the ones who care about the humanitarian situation of the people of Gaza, not the Hamas. We have been doing everything despite the fact that there was a barbarous attack of Hamas ISIS. They are the same, and they're the same people and the same behavior. In a very early morning of a Jewish holiday in Sabbath, they fired huge number of thousands of rockets so far, and they went into 30 Jewish communities and slaughtered, murdered, raped, killed, beheaded, everything you know about ISIS. That's what happened there. More than 1,300 people, more than 3,000 wounded, and 130 plus are hostages. They took them, including many foreigners. The stories and the pictures, we don't know that from our history, not the number of that, but also not the visions there, the pictures. It's disastrous. Having said that, we are a democratic country, not a barbarian terror organization, and we do care about the situation of the people of Gaza. That's why we are, first of all, asked them to evacuate, because Hamas are using them as human shields. And our aim is not to have civilians in the fighting zone. Hamas had been stopping them by force.
And you have evidence of those things? That they
Yes, there is.
Them as human shields?
First of all, yeah, for history, from the fact that they are launching from schools, from hospitals, their headquarters under hospitals. So yeah, that's all the time. But we have even pictures that are very widespread air photos that you see that they made a roadblock on the road that they are supposed to go south to go away from the fighting. And we have also we can share with you also human talks that we had with someone there saying that they stopped his car, they took his keys, they hit him and sent him back to be in his home. So they want to keep them as human shields. Still, we speak of humanitarian situation. The real humanitarian situation is that of the hostages there, and many foreign nationals included there probably, quite a big, substantial number. No one knows the numbers, no one knows the names, no one knows if they got their medicine, what they should get. And yet, Israel started again yesterday the supply of water, is ready to go through for a humanitarian corridor to take out foreigners and bring in necessities. But unfortunately, Hamas couldn't care less about their people. That's very clear.
Ambassador, how far is Israel willing to go this time to avenge this? I mean, as I'm talking to you, Excellency, we all know that there are forces on the border, and yet there is no full-scale operation yet. So how far is Israel willing to go this time?
We are not going to avenge. This is not about vengeance.
Okay.
They deserve any vengeance, but it's not about vengeance. It's about making sure that the ISIS-Hamas terror organization cannot do again these atrocities, these war crimes. We will make sure that the organization loses its ability to execute. How we will do it, what extent, everyone will have to wait and see. But this is the aim. The aim is not punishing of anyone. The aim is making sure that Hamas is not there anymore in this format as it was before, really controlling the Gaza Strip. You know, Israel left in 2005. There is no Israeli there for almost 20 years, 18 years now. This is not the issue. In the last years, the Israeli governments thought that, and made the miscalculation here, that if we improve the level of living in Gaza, there will be more limitations on Hamas on attacking because they want to take good care of the population. So Israel was enabling tens of thousands of people to cross every day to Israel to make work, to work and make a good living. It brought some prosperity to Gaza. And we mistakenly thought that Hamas people, they think like us, that if people have more food and better life, the motivation to attack us is lesser. So they don't care about their population. Leadership, by the way, used to live in villas. They don't live in villas anymore because all the neighborhood of the Hamas leaders, we took it off first day. We told them to leave. So we warned them, we flattened it. And other leaders, they are living in Qatar or in Istanbul in very comfortable villas or hotels or whatever. This is the leadership. They don't care about the people. They're using the people as a tool. This is part of the tragedy of the people that are caught in the middle there.
So the intent is to wipe out the Hamas, as I understand. This is what you intend
to wipe out the ability of Hamas to reenact barbarian attacks like this one.
And how you're not going to come back, right? The forces.
This is the target that was defined to the military.
Okay.
That's the target. How it will be done, we will all see.
Sir, how about the challenge that is before there with the Israeli government to get back all your citizens, those who have been taken as hostages there?
It's a terrible challenge. I know that there are different international forces that are trying to work there on that. Look, it's a crime. It's against all. I mean, okay, ISIS, Hamas, they don't care about anything, but it's against all laws of war, abducting civilians, using them. I'm sure they already threatened to execute people if Israel does this, Israel does that. I mean, on ground defense and stuff like that. We might see also terrible pictures there in order to put psychological pressure on Israel. This is one of the aims that was defined to the military. Prime Minister met yesterday some of the families, and he told them one of the directions to the military is to release these hostages.
Ambassador, we are also seeing that, I saw a statement from IDF which said that, we are prepared to face war from multiple fronts. The reason, we all know there are attacks from Lebanon, from Syria. So are you actually, can I put it this way, are we on the verge of a World War III, sir?
I don't know. I think that the Iranians are trying to push us there. It's quite clear. Iran, the connection between Iran and Hamas is a known one. They were training them, arming them, and financing them for many, many years. And think, these are Shiites and these are Sunnis. Hamas are Sunnis, allegedly not supposed to be together. But here there is an alliance of hatred and destabilization of the region. And Iran is using its proxy in Lebanon, Hezbollah, in order to threaten Israel and deter us from action, from taking what we need to do in Gaza. We are not going to be deterred. If Hezbollah and Iran decide to take a front with us, we will know how to deal with that front in a very effective way and very hurting way. If you saw 2 days ago, the foreign minister of Iran went to Beirut, met by coincidence with Hamas, with Hezbollah, and with Islamic Jihad, and then he went to see Ania in Qatar the day after. They are trying to organize to deter. They're not going to be deterred. If you see, also the Americans understood that this is not like in the past, that this is already a new stage, and that these people, Iran and its proxies, are threatening now the stability of the Middle East. And that's why the Americans sent a carrier to the Eastern Mediterranean, now a second one, in order to send a message of deterrence. I hope They will never interfere because all our wars we fought alone and prevailed. That's part of the issue. But also for countries, by the way, like India, this is supposed to disturb. First of all, Muslim Brotherhood are a threat to all the pragmatic, moderate regimes in our region, to the Gulf countries, to Saudi Arabia. And I think that what happened is that Iran and these elements, extreme elements, they saw that the Middle East is changing face. Because in the last 3 years, we have the Abraham Accords, countries got closer to Israel. Now that this I2U2 is part of it. Now there is discussion that Saudi Arabia and Israel will get closer. We spoke about making a path, a way from India through the Gulf to the Mediterranean, through Israel to the Mediterranean. And I think the extremists, they don't want things to go better. They want things to go worse. And this is what we see here. They're trying to disrupt the whole region. But we are going to teach them a very, very clear lesson, I think, for the future and take from them the ability to threaten others.
So do you still think that Iran was actually behind this particular attack by Hamas? Was it orchestrated, supported by Iran?
I think this will be known in the future. Of course, we were surprised, so we don't know too much about the planning. But I know we have a lot of evidence and proof. Over the years, we spoke about it, that Iran was sending them technology, weapons. We stop ships. It's not that we don't know about it. The Americans stop ships, we stop ships. Technology, weapons, and money all the time. So the Iranians, whether they were 200% into the details or just in the large picture, the coordination with Hezbollah seems to be there to start, because Hezbollah from the first moment started to hit the Lebanese border in order to draw attention and threaten Israel. So I would be surprised if the Iranians were not involved to some extent or knew before, or I don't know, but we will find out with time exactly what.
So Excellency, there will be more operation against Hezbollah as well?
I don't think that we want to take Hezbollah now. It's up to them. If they decide to cross the limits and start engaging us, we will engage them in the fullest way. We said that very clearly, and we have the ability. It will not be nice, it will not be easy, not for us, not for Lebanon, because Hezbollah is the ruler of Lebanon. And the war is not going to be with Hezbollah, it's going to be with Lebanon. They are the government in Lebanon. So we don't know how to differentiate between the country and the party that is leading the coalition. So it's going to be very painful. I hope they don't do this miscalculation. If they do, we'll engage. We are not trying to engage. We are trying to deal with Hamas in Gaza. That's our main aim now.
Sir, Excellency, while responding to my question, when I asked you whether you think that we are on the verge of World War III, you said Iran is pushing us towards that. What happens if it comes to that, sir? Because we are seeing the world divided into two camps on this particular issue. So
no, I don't think World War III. I don't think that we are going to World War III. I think that the world is very much divided, and not by values necessarily. It's not that countries are not taking the position all the time by values. Unfortunately, by political calculation. This is very unfortunate, I think. So we are again. I think we can deal with it by ourselves. We don't need the world with us. Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, if they get involved, everyone will get its share, I think. And I advise everyone to leave us to deal with this ISIS, Hamas, and not be involved and not take the region to a bigger war, because it will be very painful. Not world war. It will be Israel, and we know how to do that.
Excellency, Palestinian president said in a statement after there was an appeal made to that effect by President Biden, that Hamas does not represent the aspirations and the desires of the people of Palestine. Is it a welcoming statement? How do you see that?
Yeah, I see that as welcoming. In general, I will tell you that people asked me, can't people criticize Israel? I said, I accept criticism from Israel about our behavior only from people that on Saturday already went out and unequivocally, like India, condemned Hamas for the murder. All the people who try to put things in context, and I understand it's a long-standing, these are supporters of terrorism, because if you try to make context, it means that you are trying to give a logical justification for killing 1,300 young people, babies, mothers, grandmothers, in their beds, in their homes, kidnapping them. There is no justification. Terror is terror is terror. Unfortunately, if I go back, I will remind people that when Israel left in 2005, the disengagement from Gaza left, we took out 10,000 Jews who lived there and dismantled more than 20 communities. When we left, the regime was in the hands of the Palestinian Authority. They lost it to Hamas by force, in elections and then by force, kicked out by force. So really, I don't see in any way that they are represented or representing Hamas in Gaza. From day one, they went as if they are supporting. What are you supporting? These people hate you, killed you, and will kill you also in Judea and Samaria if Israel would not be there. So I would have expected the Palestinians to be on our side. Most of the countries in the region should be on our side, the Muslim countries, because we are dealing, our enemy is their enemy. If we deal with the Muslim Brotherhood, extremist ISIS, Hamas, they will be safer. And this is what we are aiming to do.
Excellency, on the other hand, as I was about to begin this interview, I was also told that there is an incident that has happened in the United States. I'm sure you would be aware about it. An Israeli citizen stabbed a kid to death because he was non-Israeli. He was probably from Palestine. His mom was also attacked. Do you think such kind of incidents anywhere else should be avoided?
I'm not aware that there was an Israeli stabbing. I know that there was an American citizen who stabbed someone, unless you know differently. You know it's an Israeli?
Israeli origin is...
No, not that I know, maybe, but I'm not aware of it. Okay. Anyhow...
American citizen, so you
I don't know, you know. Yeah. An Israeli, the husband of a diplomat was stabbed in China 2 days ago. Of course that there are people who are extreme on both sides. I hope it doesn't come to the streets at the end of the day. It shouldn't. There is a terror organization. It's very clear here. People shouldn't support Hamas on the basis of religion or politics. These are crazy people. They are against humanity. It's as if someone goes and supports ISIS. If you support ISIS, you support Hamas. Support Hamas, support ISIS. This is an ideology that no one has to back. I mean, no human being that has human values can support someone who is decapitating people, who is murdering, who is raping children, raping women, murdering children. This is not condoned, I think, in any way, not justified in any way.
Excellency, just last 2-3 questions. The scope of negotiations, sir. You see any window of negotiations to deal with this situation?
No.
No?
No. I don't see how negotiations are going to eliminate the ability of the Hamas to re-execute. Okay. There was time for talking, now it's time for deeds. They should have thought of it before, and once they executed this horrific attack, it's not time for negotiations.
So with all the inputs that the government of Israel has got till now, what do you think, who was, and why did Hamas carry out such a big attack all of a sudden?
Because
what was the motivation behind it?
No, the problem is our problem. We did not understand that Hamas over the years became from a regular terror organization into an Islamic Jihad extremist ISIS organization. We did not see the change coming. We do not understand that. We thought that they became civil, that because they are the leaders and they want to improve their lives and they want to have the support of the population, they would behave like a responsible actor. That was a huge misunderstanding that we have to fix now. The motivation is killing Jews. By the way, go to the Hamas Covenant. Hamas Covenant does not speak of two-state solution or anything like that. They don't accept a Jewish state in any borders. It's not about borders, it's not about politics, it's about racism. Killing the Jews, kicking them out. They tried, they created a lot of damage now, and we will see the outcome of their attempt.
So, Excellency, as I understand, it is about fighting against the terror and not so much for taking control of Gaza, right?
We will have to have a very strong ground offense. That's very clear. That's quite clear to us. How it will end, we don't have an aim of reconquering Gaza. We don't have an added pleasure of having under our control, after we gave it up 18 years ago, another 2.2 million people. To provide them, to take care of them, to make sure that everything is going well. We are not looking for that. We are going to harm the regime, the Hamas regime there significantly, And I hope that there will be a new structure there that will enable us not to stay there, but to leave it to the hands of the Palestinians like they have been doing in the last 18 years. Unfortunately, Hamas took over from the Palestinian Authority and things went south, more south. So I hope that we can find there some structure that will enable stability after we finish the ground operation.
Sir, your Palestinian counterpart in New Delhi, while speaking to my colleague Nirim, he said that he appeals to government of India, more so Prime Minister Modi, to intervene and find a solution to this. What is your response to this?
My response is, as I said before, people on the first day, and I'm speaking about the Palestinian Authority, were quiet, did not condemn this butchering of people. They should be quiet. They should really be quiet. Don't play the victim now. Don't play first of all, they have no involvement and they lost Gaza, as I said. And they're playing the victim. Victimhood is a wonderful strategy for them. They shoot at what they do, Hamas, for years. And the Palestinian Authority is unable to stop them, of course, because they are not there. But instead of denouncing them, they are supporting them from outside. And what is Hamas doing? Hamas, for years, is shooting from civilian population at Israeli civilian population, hoping that Israel's reaction will be limited by the world, because when we retaliate to the source of fire, we hit civilian populations. The whole idea they have here is the human shield idea, that they will build international pressure in order to stop us. This time we're not going to stop, because we understand that if we don't eliminate now, it will come later. So Palestinian Authority coming to that, okay, I'm very happy that Abu Mazen condemned after President Biden told him. I think it's off by the way, go to the website and see if it's there. I think it's off, but in general, it's their issue. If you are, I'm telling people, including the Palestinian Authority, if you're not relevant, stay out. If you are relevant and can stop, I suggest that you put the pressure on the Hamas. And maybe you mentioned Prime Minister Modi's support to Israel. We were really touched, not only by Prime Minister Modi, who at the first day, when the full extent was far from understood, I think we spoke then on tens of murdered, not 1,300. He already came out and made a very strong message against terrorism and in support of Israel. And he continued after speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu. He had a second tweet. But it's not only him. From all Indian society, I got from ministers, from high officials, from the people in the military, on the personal level. Everyone said, I'm speaking here as a person, from very important businessmen, calls, WhatsApps, whatever, letters. We got so much support. And look on the social media, how much support we get from the public.
We had hashtags supporting it.
I'm a veteran diplomat. The gray hair is an evidence of that. I've served in quite many countries, ambassador in 3 countries, most of them friendly. I was really in friendly countries. And the popular support we get here in India is so much more than we get in any other place. It's giving us power, and it's very emotional, and we feel among family here in India.
So just one last question. I know you have to rush out. Just one last question, sir. On the Operation Ajay, we saw some 3 women of 3 Indian origin in the armed forces losing their lives battling Hamas. But there is parallel operation also going on in Israel along with India to bring back those stranded Indians from there. So what kind of cooperation is on, and how is it going to proceed from here on?
Yeah, I think that the Indian side did these emergency flights in order to evacuate. The numbers of Indians in Israel are probably up to 20,000. So any numbers, 17, 18, I don't know how many are there, because we have about 18,000 caregivers that are working in Israel for a while. And 2 of them, I saw heroes. They saved themselves by holding the door for hours of their safe room and saving the old lady they were taking care of. And then you have about 1,000 students, and then here and there others. Those who wanted to be evacuated, I guess that they already were evacuated in these emergency flights. Last one, SpiceJet yesterday, last night, went to Israel. We cooperated with whatever that was needed. Many of the Indians, they don't want to leave so far. Okay. And I think that now we are going into this kind of war that we knew in the past, that rockets coming at Israel. I'll tell you, I have in Israel, my wife went to be with my family. I have my wife in Israel, my 4 kids, my 5 grandchildren, my father who was already 88 years old, my in-laws that are very close to that age. All of them, twice a day, 3 times a day, depends how often, they go to the safe room, take shelter. It's not a good feeling, but we are used to that. And also, by the way, the caregivers who live in Israel, they are used to that too, because every time, now and then it erupts. What happened in Saturday was a huge surprise. We never thought something of that magnitude, that cruelty can happen. But now we are back into what we know how to do. Iron Dome is protecting quite well against the missiles, intercepting quite a lot. And I think people in general, if they are lucky and they listen to the instructions, they should stay safe in general. But to best of my information, those who wanted to leave from the Indian side, it's not our operation, it's the MEA's operation and the embassy in Israel. I think they got the chance to leave. And those who stayed, which is a vast majority, they chose to stay knowing the situation.
Thank you, Excellency, for talking to us. As I said in the beginning, sir, these are difficult times. Very kind that you took time out. And as Prime Minister Modi has already stated, that India stands with Israel in its fight against Hamas, the terror group. Israel ambassadors, जिन्होंने exclusively बात की ABP न्यूज़ से, और उनका कहना है कि negotiations अब नहीं होंगे, अब हमास के खिलाफ निर्णायक कार्रवाई होगी और इजराइल पूरी तरह से कोशिश करेगा कि अपने जो नागरिकों को हमास बंदी बना के लेके गया है उनको सही सलामत वहां से वापस भी लाया जाए।